Hello everyone, let's analyze the game between Pragnananda and Carlsen of the tie break 1. Here, white is Pragnananda and black is Magnus Carlsen. So let's start e4, e5, knight f3 attacking the e5 pawn, knight to c6 defending the e5 pawn and also controlling the d4 square. And now bishop to c4. Magnus Carlsen played knight to f6 attacking the e4 pawn and Pragnananda played d3. Controlling the e4 pawn, making a pawn chain, and also he is ready to castling. So bishop to c5, and here Pragg played a4. Generally this type of move is very popular because someday a knight can jump to a5, so we are trying to save our bishop on the a2 square. So that is the motto of the a4 move. So d6 played by Carlsen, and here Pragg castled. Here the opening is going on. After a5, Pragg played bishop to e3. So bishop into e3, pawn into e3. It is known as doubled pawns because there are two pawns on the same file. Generally they are weak, but these pawns are aiming towards the center. So we can say that these pawns are quite strong here because they are controlling the important d4 and the f4 square. So black castles, black is Magnus Carlsen here, and here Pragg is developing his pieces. Knight d2, and Magnus Carlsen is also maneuvering the knight, and a cool move by Pragg, knight h4 looking towards the f5 square, and here Magnus Carlsen is trying to solidify the center with the move c6. Queen e1 with the purpose of queen g3 in the future and to attack on the g7 pawn or square. So it is a rule, if opponent is trying to attack on the wing side, on the king or on the queen side, attack on the center. So Carlsen is playing theoretically here bishop b3 by Pragg, and now queen to d6. Carlsen is also trying to activate his pieces, and now queen to g3. Now Pragnananda is in the mood of attack, but Carlsen is very prepared here. So knight h5, and now queen g5 attacking the knight. So g6. Now you can see here the h6 and f6 square both are weak, but how Carlsen managed to remove these weaknesses is quite impressive here. So knight fi, you cannot capture the knight because it is a pin, it is a real pin. When there is a real pin, you cannot move the piece which is in front of the king. So Carlsen took with the bishop, and pawn takes f5. Now Pragnananda took both of his bishops and also trying to attack towards the king side of the Magnus Carlsen, and here he played king g7, which is very nice and fine move here. Suppose if he plays rook to c8, so we will play f6 first and this knight is trapped. Or if he plays rook d8 here, suppose knight c8, and now we will play g4 to attack this knight. There is no square for this knight. So that is why, to stop the f6 threat, he played king to g7. And if white plays g4, then knight will retreat on f6. So after king to g7, Pragg played king h1 with the purpose of rook g1 and g4 in the future. So Carlsen thought to exchange the queens because it is going very dangerous here. So Pragg took the queen, knight took here, some exchanges of the pieces are here, and after f into g, h into g. Now look at the position. This bishop is very dull here, and the center is very solid of the black. These knights are very well, and this knight is not on the good square, but the position is equal because there are no real weaknesses towards the white side and the black side. So e4 played by Pragg, d takes e4, and now pawn takes e4. Carlsen played rook a d8, rook f2, saving the knight, and now centralizing the rook. Actually Carlsen is a very theoretical player. He believes in the theory as well, so he is playing quite theoretically, putting the rook on the outpost. It is the outpost for the rook, and Pragnananda is also trying to play theoretically here, attacking the knight. So knight eg8 by Carlsen, and now c3. decentralizing the rook, and rook to d7 by Magnus Carlsen. Here the position is a little good for white because now his rooks are developed. The black's knight are not so good, but the position is equal because there is no real attack from both of the sides. And rook to e2 by Pragg, rook e7. Carlsen is also playing very quiet moves. Now Pragg developed the bishop on the c2 and knight to d7. He is trying to go on the c5 square to attack here both of the pawns, but Pragg played this move to attack on the a5 pawn. So rook to a8, and here Pragg played g4. Now he is in the mood to win this game, and here Carlsen played very fine move f6 to stop any g5 idea. And here Pragg played rook g2 with the intention of g5. So knight on h6 attacking the pawn or developing the knight, you can say, and now g5. And here after taking the pawn, rook takes g5. Now Carlsen retreated the knight on f7 attacking the rook, again rook g2. Now Pragnananda is looking towards the g6 pawn, which he created the weakness. Also a5 is a weakness, so Carlsen here played very sensible chess and slowly trying to construct his weaknesses into the attacking mode. Also after rook d2, Carlsen is playing theoretically trying to exchange rooks, and here Pragg took the rook, which is not so good. He should play rook g1 here to avoid any exchanges. So now you can see in the position slowly both the knights are good, and this rook is not here, so white cannot create any real weaknesses and any real attack on the g6 pawn. So b4, Carlsen took the pawn on b4, c takes b4, sorry, and now king to f8. Now Carlsen realized that the game is going this side, queen side. So Carlsen is very quick in uh, filling the position. His intuitions are very nice and very good. So king g2 and king e7, and here Pragg played a5 move, which is okay. And suddenly Carlsen thought that a6 move is not so good in the position, so he activated his rook. Carlsen likes to activate his pieces, and here Pragg started to making mistakes. He played rook e2 here. And now knight h5, you can see here f4 is a real weakness. So Pragg played king to g1, and here knight comes, knight f4, and Pragg played rook to d2. Now you can see how Magnus Carlsen activated his pieces, fixing the problems here, and moved his king to e7 to watch out at the queen side, and to the king side also activated his rook on the h8. Very sensible chess by Magnus, and rook h3. And here final mistake by Pragnananda. He made e6 move, which is a very bad move. Instead of this, he should play bishop to d1 to control this g4 square or this diagonal from the e2 f1 to a6, but here he made a mistake and played a6, which is not so good. Immediately Carlsen took advantage of this and took the pawn on a6, and now it is very late because Carlsen is giving his pawn trying to attack the king side, and now attacking the knight. And as you can see, Pragg played knight f5, both of his pieces are on the rim, and Carlsen took advantage of this and played knight g5. Suddenly you can see here black's knight are very strong here, and this rook is also trying to create a mating pattern towards the weak king. And if you take this pawn like in this move, then there is a fork. So Pragg played rook c2, and now there is a check with the g knight, knight h3 check. And after king f1, rook a3 played by Magnus. And if you save this bishop, if you capture this, suppose if you capture this pawn, then it is made in two because king has no squares here. So Pragg played the last few moves, and after king f6, Pragg resigned the game because the bishop cannot move anywhere and there is a threat of checkmate. So beautiful game played by both of the guys, and inaccuracy made by the Pragnananda made him to lose this game. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please follow and subscribe our channel. Thank you.